If you want to hear my full thoughts on the Anastasia lip palette, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène with another video, and I am so happy to get this video off my to-do list. So this video has been a long time coming. I am so happy to get it off my to-do list. And I want to give a shout out to Cynthia, who has been very, very patiently waiting for this video. Hi, Cynthia. My apologies for taking so long to get this out, but I hope you enjoy the result. I have been avoiding it, I will be honest with you, for a couple of reasons. One of them is the winter has not been very nice to my lips, and I have had very dry lips, very uncomfortable lips. We walk the dog every night at least once a day anyway, and when you spend a half hour, 45 minutes outside and you tend to have dry skin, your lips suffer no matter how much chapstick I seem to be putting on. I just had a lot of trouble. So the last couple of months have been a whole lot more of lip glosses, creamy lipsticks, that kind of a thing. And Anastasia lipsticks are not exactly hydrating. Now I'm talking about these, I'm not talking about everything. I do like my Anastasia lip glosses. I wear them on a regular basis. I'm just not hating on the brand. I'm just saying that it has not been the best choice for me lately. I am wearing one of the lipsticks in this palette today. I am wearing number 3. They don't have names, so this is number 3 right here. As you can see, I took a little bit too much, and there's some little pen right there, and I put back half of what I took. I use the spatula that came with this palette, although I did not use that spatula today, and I will explain why. I used it just to scoop out this stuff, but I didn't use it for everything else I did today with this palette. And it also comes with a lipstick brush that I also used. I haven't cleaned it off yet because I may reapply today. And the reason for me having this palette is twofold. I was curious about trying a bunch of Anastasia lipsticks, and in this case, if you think of just lipsticks that you can wear right off the hop that are not just primary colors or black or white, then you will see that there are easily let's see, 12, 13, 14. So the first 2 rows, and then this red is very, very wearable, and then this one is kind of a deep blood red as well. And so those are wearable. Out of the 18 shadows, 14 are pretty cool. And then I don't think that most people would consider white, black, yellow, and blue as just everyday wearable. They're very much primary colors for mixing. At least that's the intention. I have used this palette. Anytime I do use it, I scoop out the amount that I want or think that I need and then apply it with this brush. But I scoop out the product because this is the only lip product in my collection that I will share. So if someone comes over to play with a ton of palettes and other stuff that I have that I can easily sanitize, and they want to finish up their look with a lipstick, I'll either give them a sample that I have or a deluxe mini, or they will select a color in this palette. And as we can see, there's quite a variety to go with. So it's not like there's a lack of colors. Anything from like a mauve to a hot pink to a deep red, a bold red. There's a lot to choose from. Now, what do I think of this palette just in general? I talked about how the lipstick is quite dry. I've had this one on probably for the last somewhere between 20 minutes and a half hour. It goes on very creamy when you apply it, so you can manipulate the lipstick for a long time. It doesn't dry immediately, but once it's been on your lips for a while, there's still some tackiness from top to bottom, so it's not a complete dry down, but let's see how much transfer there is. So there's not a whole lot of transfer, as you can see. So the color stays pretty much put. So it lasts 4 hours. I don't have a problem with the lasting power of this lipstick. I don't have a problem with the application of this lipstick. The dryness is an issue. But another issue is the fact that it's in palette form. Palette based lipsticks are not very useful. Especially, I don't see anyone really carrying this palette in their purse on a regular basis. Now, if you're going to do maybe extended travel, this might be a good thing compared to a lipstick, but are you really going to need 14 workable shades of lipstick on a trip? I think a lot of us would just pick our favorites and just go with those. I could be wrong. I have some other lip palettes in my collection, but I can tell you that I would go to those before this one because this one is so big. In my opinion, it's big. And like I said, you do get 14 what I would call workable lipsticks that are not mixing colors. And for $62 and 14 workable shades, you are paying over $4 per color that you have here. And the amount of product, if that's of importance to you, is 0.8 grams or 0.03 ounces each. I think that there's a lot of product here. I do think that $62 is pretty steep. I did end up getting mine for half off when I did pick it up. I don't think that I would have paid $62 for it, although I do love the versatility of having so many shades because I share the palette and use those colors on other people from time to time. If that were not the reality of my life, I probably would not have purchased this. That said, if you are trying to sort out what types of shades that you like from Anastasia and you're willing to pay somewhere, depending on what you can pay for it, $31 to $62 for it, and that is of value to you to use lipstick over and over and decide which one is your absolute favorite, fine. But I would think the number of people who would do that is very, very few. If you want a little bit more detail on how I used this lip palette during my brand new focus, I will leave the video right here. You can reference the video. But what I wanted to do in this video today is, I'm not going to do lip swatches of all of it. My lips would never survive it. They're doing okay with this, but I'm not going to be switching the color. But I wanted to talk about the mixing shades. So I'm going to be talking about the blue, the yellow, the black, and the white, and what impact they have on the lip colors that I have selected to play around with them. I chose a few different colors in this palette to mix with the primary colors. I chose the fuchsia, so hot pink, I chose a nude, and I chose the red. And the reason being that a lot of folks like red, a lot of folks like pink, so I thought a fuchsia kind of hot pink would look good, and a lot of folks like nudes. So those three categories of colors I thought would be good for mixing. Now, as I bring out the palette that I used to do this mixing and comparison, I need to explain why I'm using different tools. I used this spatula to pick up the product, and so this is a full-size spatula with the hook on the one side and the flat base on the other. This is a good tool to pick up product, and it is a solid tool. That came in this sleeve. You can see how it has two compartments here. And so this one goes in this compartment, and then there is a large palette that goes into this one. And I want to show you the difference between the palette, this other palette that goes in the sleeve, and then this palette. This palette is the Anastasia palette. This is the palette that came with the lip palette. And let me show you. So this and this is what came in the palette. And so I'll just show you the difference in this, and I'll just flip it around. Just show you the difference in the spatula. This is made of plastic and metal. I think it bends. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on camera. Let me just, it bends. It's very, very poorly made. It's very cheap. The lip brush is also not very good. I have a lip brush from another lipstick palette from Urban Decay that is head and shoulders above this one. Let me show you. This is from the Nagel palette. And as you can see, you can probably tell that I use this one more than the other one. But of course, this is also one I can go directly in with the brush. Now, this is the brush in the other palette, and it pops open and closed. And the quality of the brush is just so much better. And it's protected. You don't have to try to put that plastic cap back on that is so easy to have fall on the floor, and then you have to wash it. And the cap on the other one, it doesn't stay. And when I pick up a palette like this one that has the mirror, that has the protection on the lipsticks, and that has a kick-ass brush like this, it really left me wanting for when it comes to the Anastasia lip palette. Now let's talk about this palette again. So the size difference, as I mentioned, is pretty significant. There's my camera, hello. And not only that, but this, I don't know if you'll be able to see the thickness. This is metal. This is very cheap metal that just bends at nothing. It's a very cheap little thing that has no, yeah, it's not useful, and it is too small to use. So I tried to use it for a while, and I ended up ordering the palette and the spatula that I presented to you. So please don't consider that the tools that you're getting with the palette are all that useful, especially if you're going to be using it very regularly, which that was my hope, but it's just not functional. Now, finally, what you've probably been waiting for. Let's just talk about the colors. I told you that I had selected, I think you can still see it, hot pink, a nude, and a red. I think you can still see the residual of those three lipsticks. I scooped up those three lipsticks and mixed them with the white, the black, the yellow, and the blue. So I hope that all comes through, and I'll try to get the glare out. With the fuchsia, you're going to see that it turns quite a bit lighter with the white. The black completely overtakes it, so if you're going to mix with black, you want to use a whole lot less, is what I learned there. With the yellow, it turns far more peach, and with the blue, it turns an interesting purple. Now, when it comes to the nude, which I think you can still see the color there, it turns it into a light nude. I used a whole lot less of the black. It turns it kind of gray. The yellow, it turns it almost like a mustardy peach. And then the blue, it turned that nude kind of into a gray. I'm just going to look at it one more time. It's more like between a gray and a dusty rose is really where the nude was taken by the blue. But I used just a tiny bit of blue. And then finally, we have that really bright primary red. And that primary red with the white turned quite hot pink. And then when we look at what the black did, and I used a lot less of the black, it turns kind of a deep burgundy chocolate brown is what it looks like. With the yellow, it turned into an orangey red. And then with the blue, a kind of it's a deep purple, but with a little bit of an indigo type of look to it. That is the extent, at least for three lipsticks, of what kind of effect that you can get from mixing of all those primary colors, including the black and white that are in the palette. Having done this, what are my thoughts on it? I like the fact that you can easily get a purple out of the palette without necessarily having to own a purple, because I don't think that purple is the lipstick that folks just go for on a regular basis, but it's nice to be able to create it. The challenge, I think, though, in mixing the color is if you have to reapply, you have to kind of go back and forth to try to match the color that you had, and remember what it is that you used as a base and that kind of thing. For one-time use to create a color, I think that is great. I don't have a problem with that. Does it expand your lipstick range a huge amount? Yes. Would most of us be patient enough every morning to kind of decide, what lipstick color will I concoct today? Probably not. I would say that this product is best for someone who does makeup on a lot of people, folks who maybe have more than one person who would be using the palette, which is my situation, and also really somebody who does videos, maybe a YouTuber who wants to have a whole lot of versatility of lipstick colors to wear in videos. But here's the thing. I think that you would be disappointed if you heard that a YouTuber was using a certain color and then you find out that it's a mixed color and that maybe it's not accessible or that you have to buy an expensive palette to achieve that color. I don't know. I don't know that the market for this is huge beyond makeup artists. I think that that is the number one group of people who are going to use that. Next up would be cosplay or Halloween enthusiasts, special effects enthusiasts, that kind of thing. And then if you really truly love to play with makeup, dabbling around, and don't mind a bunch of more involved steps, maybe you would like this palette. But I would say out of all makeup wearers, maybe just a few percentage points of the population would be really interested in this palette. I was thankful to try a bunch of colors for the Anastasia brand new focus, and I am happy to be able to enable folks to put on a lipstick to go with a given look. But if it weren't for those two uses, I would consider this purchase a regret. If it were just for me and my use of Anastasia lipsticks on a day-to-day basis, it would absolutely be money wasted because I would go for an Anastasia liquid lip, bullet lipstick, or gloss over this palette in a heartbeat. Do I think this is cool? Sure. And it was cool to do this video. Absolutely. But I just don't think it's a fantastic purchase. I would probably take, if it is $62 for you to purchase in Canadian dollars, I would say that I would probably steer you to 3 sets of minis for $20 each around Christmas time for you to be able to have the variety you seek, but with the convenience of packaging that makes it conducive for you to use. So there you go, my final thoughts on this Anastasia lip palette. Do you have that palette? What do you think of it? Are you considering buying it? I would love to hear why and when. And I'm hoping that this review, this more thorough review of the palette is helpful. And I look forward to hearing your comments on this video, on the palette, and any other lipstick suggestions or recommendations you might have for all of us as well as products to explore. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it very much. And again, Cynthia, thank you for your patience. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.